Hey everybody, this is Jimmy with Curators of Hip Hop, and today we got the magnificent DJ Mars. D-
Yeah, I'll take that.
yeah,
Yeah,
DJ Mars.
magnificent is usually reserved for Jazzy Jeff, but I'll
Right,
take it.
right. Hey, look, but the president and founding member of the world famous Super Friends crew, DJ Mars is. If you don't know him and you've been to Atlanta, you haven't been to a club yet, because DJ Mars is known for wrecking the clubs. He's also known for touring with some of your favorite artists from Neo, Usher, Ciara, Monica, Khalees. I'm gonna stop right there. This DJ Mars in the building. He's not only a DJ, he's even more than that. He has supported his independence, and we'll let you all know about that today. DJ Mars, how you doing, good brother?
What's going on, family? How y'all doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Hey, so you started at Clark Atlanta DJing and stuff. How'd you go from college DJing to where you are now?
Um, well, college is where I started my base, right? In Atlanta, anyway. Being on Clark's campus is where I kind of built my foundation. It was me, DJ Trauma, my man Brax, and DJ Doc. We were doing all of the college parties, and then we went from the campus parties to the college parties that were held in nightclubs. So it was like it was a two-way street. One wouldn't have happened without the other. If we didn't get our base DJing the campus parties, we would have never graduated to the club parties. So one helped the other.
Oh man, so you saying it's not magic. You didn't just jump in the clubs.
Oh no.
It's levels, right?
The DJs that were in the clubs before me were there, rightfully so. So DJs like Emperor Cersei, DJ Dose, Little John, JC. Those were guys that were tearing down the big clubs, the clubs that you wanted to be at. Those were the guys tearing down those clubs before I even got there. I was either sneaking in or paying my way to get in clubs that those guys were spinning in before I even got there.
Nice. So, question, like Jermaine's a DJ as well. He has that in his repertoire. He's a man of many hats. So you started out with vinyls. Are you still using vinyls?
No, I've technology has kind of left wax alone for some DJs. I'm one of them. So I'm like most DJs, 99% of the working traveling DJs, we all use Serato. But in the 90s, yeah, it was definitely records. That was your rite of passage, and that was where technology was at that particular time.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, question for you. So, in terms of DJing just right now in the current state, how has, if in any ways, your mind shifted around, the pandemic times and adapting to the musical needs that are out there in the world? Obviously, for example, D Nice was somebody that a lot of people got real familiar with again, and yeah, just let us know some of your thoughts in terms of like how how for you the craft has maybe shifted over the last year or so.
But the craft hasn't shifted. A good DJ is a good DJ, regardless of what's going on health wise, what's going on globally. So the craft hasn't shifted. It's the way in which people watch DJs have shifted. So, you know, DJs DJing online versus in a club, that has definitely changed. People's listening ear has changed because now they're listening to stuff online that they may not hear in a club. So if a DJ is spinning in a nightclub, he has to adhere by certain rules, right? Right. We all like to think we can play everything, but certain crowds only want to hear what they know, right? But if you got an audience listening to you online, you could dig in those crates a little deeper. So if the craft has shifted, I would say it shifted for the better in terms of widening the listener's ears. But regardless of what's going on, you still got to be a good DJ.
And where do you, at this particular moment, or let's go back to sort of your foundation of music. What were some of your first musical influences?
My uncles on my father's side, they were listening to Parliament, Funkadelic. So So what I remember but I remember growing up, everybody in my family was listening to something different. So what it did was it opened up my mind. Again, my mother being the king slash queen of the house, she had me open to jazz. That's where I listened to Grover Washington Jr., Herb Alpert. Those were Ronnie Laws, Bob James. That's who she had me listening to. Um, my aunt Michael Jackson was real popular. So let's say at the time that I really started to recognize music on my own, my aunt was probably in her younger 20s. And Michael Jackson was like the clearly the king. So I remember getting my Michael Jackson fix from her. My cousins who were DJs, they were heavy into Parliament Funkadelic. My father was listening to D Train, so the influences came from all over the place. I wasn't just stuck in one particular space.
Right on. And one thing I want to talk to you about, we both do, is sort of the business aspect. You know, as you came up, you said you had a rites of passage of just learning the craft and um, exposing yourself, networking, and so many things. Um, Number one, how important is the business sort of mentality and knowledge that goes into what it is you do, and how have you as a businessman transformed over the years?
I mean, eh, having a business mentality in relation to how you move as a DJ is ultra important. I started to look at things differently. Like I looked at the artists that I worked for as clients versus I'm on tour with artist so and so. Like I would say to myself, this is my client. And I provide the service. Not they didn't hire me. I provide the service. So when I started to look at that, I mentally I put myself in a different space. Like some DJs are just happy to work for certain artists. I'm providing a service. So I just changed the words in which I described my talent lending to them, and it changed my mentality. Again, some DJs just want to work with artists. No, I'm providing a service. I can take that service away. I can give that service to another artist and whatnot. So I didn't make them the important factor in the relationship. I maintain being the important factor in the relationship.
Yeah, that's key. I haven't heard anyone, speak on it like that, because a lot of people are just happy to have an opportunity, but
Mm-hmm.
for the short time I've been able to know you and watch you, you've always been a business minded person. Let's talk about the importance of diversifying. I have in front of me here, a little book, you
Yeah.
know, signed by the famous DJ Mars. Let's talk a little bit about this book and you curating this culture, the art behind the tape. Let's talk a little bit about that and your partnership with Kid Capri on this.
Well, so the first part of the question was about diversifying, right? So this is how I look at it, right? If you look at LeBron James, who's the number one basketball player on the planet right now, he's playing basketball. He's involved in philanthropy. He is involved with television. He's involved with film. So if the King James can do more than one thing, who am I not to do more than one thing? And I don't want to. I don't want to sound uh, extra philosophical, but it's the truth, man. Like no DJ gets rich off of just DJing alone. Part of it is DJing in a club. Another part is producing records. Look at DJ Khaled, right? And even within Khaled's portfolio, he's a producer, he's a DJ, he's a salesman, he's a marketing guy. He has like 4 or 5 different attributes to his name. So if you haven't figured out now that you got to be doing more than one thing within this space, what are you doing? Um, so that's the answer to the first part of the question. Part two is the book. I wrote the book, The Art Behind the Tape. It's a coffee table book about the history of mixtape culture. I put the book out a few years ago. It's part two to a project. In fact, I know you showed your copy. I'm going to show you guys a copy too. It's part two to a project. The initial part of the project was filming a documentary, which I'm still working on. But that's a part of having my hands in a couple different dishes.
So we got the book, you DJing, you doing the clubs, but also you have I've noticed within your business model is always building community. Let's talk a little bit about the Uptown Car Club.
Yeah, so the Uptown Car Club is an extension of one of my hobbies. If you pay attention to what I'm doing, really what I'm doing is showing the world what my hobbies are, right? Sneakers, my dogs, mixtape culture is as it is expressed in this book, the Uptown Car Club. I'm born in the '70s, but I grew up in the '80s, represented in the '90s. I love cars from fashion as a standpoint. I'm not a mechanic, so I'm not fixing cars, but I love cars from a particular era, the '80s and '90s. And the Uptown Car Club is an extension of that. We got car fanatics in there with everything from BMW 850s to '80s, '90s era Range Rovers. So it's just us having some adult fun and whatnot. And we haven't talked about it, but you are definitely a witness to this. Right now I have the Made by Mars custom bike company. You're a product of that too. You got one of them big boy bikes. That bike that you got is crazy.
Oh, hold on now. Hey, let me pull me up, Jermaine. Pull up. Hold on.
Yeah,
And it's light.
I know you better do your push-ups and lift that bike up.
And it's light. Oh yeah, I do my push-ups, ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? We got that custom curators of hip hop on one side, Media
Yep.
Institute on the other side. You see them tires?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's like a Tonka truck.
yeah, for sure. And it's light, man. I ride my bike to the gym. I know you're a real bike rider. I got my light on there. I know y'all be looking down on people with lights on their bikes and
No,
stuff.
no, 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 yo, bro. Like, man, first of all, safety is paramount. So,
Okay,
yeah, no. I want you to be safe. I want you
yeah,
to ride your bike, get your miles in, lose that weight, and
for
be
sure.
safe.
For sure, man. Yeah, when I got my bike, I was happy. Hey, but look, I thought everybody out there now. Look, I'm from the country. I used to put bikes together all the time. But when I got my bike, I had to go ahead and take it to the guy that fits bikes because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It took me 30 minutes to realize it was not happening. 30 minutes in that sun, not happening. But yeah, man, I'm happy, man. I had to get another seat because I ain't got no, you know, natural cushion. So I had to buy me some cushion. But nah, man, I really like this bike, man. When I ride, when I be riding and just cruising like to the gym and coming back, it'll let you know, like, hey, I had to stand up on it too, going up the hill
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
kid. I had to
Yeah,
stand
I
up
get
on
it.
it
I
and get
get
it,
it.
because I really thought like, man, I probably need to get off and push this bike up the hill the first time.
Mm,
And when I got that up the hill the first time, I was like, all right, I can make it.
yeah,
So yeah, man, I appreciate that too, man.
yeah. No. Yeah, it's
Hey,
all
hey,
good.
and you prospering too, because this bike ain't cheap. This bike right here, you could buy a lemon for the price of this bike. Hey man, you doing good business out here, man. You
Thank
being
you.
modest, but you doing good business. And even with the car club, man, you got people like Coach K. You got people within the industry that's in the car club. And I see you got the store. You got a lot of people coming through in the store too, man. Talk about that community you guys are building in Atlanta and how that's paramount for everybody to eat.
Well, I mean, this is the way I look at it, man. Like, I'm only here because people believed in me, right? So the people, you switch that word out when you talk about community. I I'm not here because I like bikes. I'm not here because I like to DJ. I'm here because people like to hear me spin. So my community has supported me from day one in these different ventures. So this is definitely a road that I have not traveled alone. This is a road that people got behind me and pushed me forward. So it's an example of my relationship, my positive relationship with them and their positive relationship with me. Man, I wouldn't be here without the people, and the people The people extend from my classmates from Clark, Atlanta, to my business associates, and to people like you, man. It's the community that made it so that I have created a bond with the entertainment industry in Atlanta for 4 decades: the '90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now we're into the 2020s, and it's because of that community.